Hey everyone, Jackie here with Enjoying Life's Journey. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another budget report card. So we're checking out how we did for December, and then we're going to look at January's overview. So if you're familiar with the way I do my budget report card, obviously you kind of have an idea of what we're going to go over. If you're not familiar with it, if this is your first time, then just join me and I'll take you through my budget. Basically, I follow Dave Ramsey's zero balance budget. So before every month, I go through and I budget out what every single dollar, where it's going to go, whether it's paying a bill or going into savings or paying any other type of expense. So I budget at the beginning of the month, and then I keep track of what I spent my money on during the month, and then I take a look at the end of the month and I give myself a grade on how we think we did. For November, we gave ourselves a B, so we'll just jump in here and see how we did for December. Okay, so I start off with our income category. So Ricky gets paid every other Friday. For the month of December, I was actually working 2 jobs. I was nannying, and I got paid on the 1st and the 15th, and then I started working at Amazon, getting paid every Friday. Extra could be anything if we get gift money, usually, or if we sell something around the house that we weren't planning on, we didn't foresee. And then rollover is money from the previous month that usually I roll over because it needs to cover a bill that, say, a paycheck isn't there to cover right away. And so we'll kind of go over that. So Ricky, we estimated that he was going to make 1,536, and that's because he had cashed out sick hours and he had some overtime. It actually ended up being quite a bit higher, about almost $300 higher. He made 1,807 and 57 cents, and that was because he also got paid. He got a holiday bonus, which I mentioned in the other one that he usually got one, but we weren't sure if he was going to be getting it. As well, he had more overtime from previous month that had got paid in December, so that was a nice extra there. Now mine, again, like I mentioned, last month I started color coding these. So if it's green, we did better than budget. If it's red, we were under or worse than budget. And if it's blue, we were right on budget. Mine's red. I budgeted 1,700 and I actually only made 1,603. And that's because, like I mentioned, I was doing nannying in the morning and then going to Amazon at night. And I originally was going to do both through December, and I actually only ended up doing it through the 18th. So I did both because I started Amazon in the middle of November. So I did one full month of both, and then that was pretty much all I could handle because I was only getting like 4 hours of sleep every night, and it was just way too hard. So now I'm only doing Amazon. And we have the girls back on a later schedule, so they go to bed a lot later, so they sleep in, and that kind of helps me to at least get 6 hours of sleep every night versus 4 hours of sleep. So that's kind of a transition there. So I did make a little bit less because again I only nannied the 18 days. However, I did get paid from YouTube or Google. I made about $108 from that, so that kind of helped even it out a little bit. So I had 1,603, so again a little low. Extra, because it was December, we actually got Christmas money from my dad, from my grandpa, from my aunt. So that, and those amounts actually were quite a bit higher than they have been in the past, so that was a nice bonus. So we had $420 worth of Christmas money, so that's extra there. And then our rollover, again, is basically what was left of the bank account the previous month, which was right on 275 and 56 cents. So overall, I'd say we did really good on our income. We were over quite a bit, so that was nice. So jumping into our regular expenses, most of the ones here, if you see here, it has a due date, and you see how it's scheduled. There's already the date. These are all automatic withdrawals from our bank, so they pretty much come out automatically. The ones down here I actually have to schedule. You'll see how I show that in the next month. I actually have those open and color coded. But so also for the most part, these probably the top half are pretty fixed. These expenses are pretty much the same other than electric and water. Those are the only two that fluctuate. So we'll jump in. So rent, $892.50, so that was right on. Our car insurance, $119.35, that was right on. Our trash bill was $44.12, right on, and that's paid every 3 months. And they actually made a mistake. They double billed me, and you'll see that in January, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Netflix, $8.69, right on. Electric, $94.38, right on. Internet, $41.71, right on. Trash ended up being $99.61. Usually I have this right on. I did not have the bill by the time I shared this last time, so it was, you know, about $5 less than budgeted, so I put that as green. Adobe Cloud. This is Adobe Cloud, in case you're wondering. I have Photoshop and Lightroom. I got that when I started, you know, messing around with photography, and so I keep those on because they actually work. I still utilize those, and I might be adding Adobe Premiere, which is a video editing software. I may be adding that in the future, so this may end up going up, but for now it's $10.62. Cell phone, $50. Motorcycle insurance, $23.78. And if you're not familiar, we actually have two motorcycles, mine and my husband's. Also, if you watched, or if you haven't watched, check out last month's, because I talked more about our future plans financially. But if you have watched it, and you guys know that we're in the process of downsizing to, oh, there goes my daughter. We're in the process of downsizing to move into an RV. So we will be selling both motorcycles. So just stay tuned for that process. Now, groceries, we went over by $12.17. Again, if you're not familiar, we do have food stamps. We get 122. So I budget roughly $8 a day. So depending on how many days are in the month, that's how I get my grocery budget. So December we had 31 days. So basically I just subtracted what that 122 would be, and that would basically, we were going to be spending about 100. We spent 112.17, a little over. That's fine. Also, I mentioned that we'd be reapplying for food stamps, so we reapplied for food stamps. So when we get to January, I'll explain more. I'll touch more on that. Gas, we budgeted $2.40. We went over by $20, $2.60, and that's because we did make a trip up to Flagstaff, which is about a 3-hour drive from us, to visit the snow. So stay tuned. I'll be showing the video from that. The girls had a lot of fun. So that's fine, because we didn't spend any money eating out or doing any of that for that trip. We just spent a little extra on gas, and that's okay by me. Kids care, we went over by $20. My dad did get married at the beginning of the month, and we had a Christmas party, so we bought the girls kind of more of a dressy outfit that they could wear to both events, and they're actually not so dressy where they can't, now they can still wear them all the time. So they did get 2 special outfits for that, for the month of December, so that went over a little bit, and that's fine. Personal care, $10.18. I actually came down with a cold, so I had gotten NyQuil and cough drops and all of that. Household, again, we just can't seem to stay ahead. I'm not sure even what we bought. Maybe we bought weed killer. I don't even know. So we went over, so we've spent $27.41. So we went over on those. That's fine. Rollover, again, it was just a random amount, kind of whatever change we are going to have left over. So we did have 71 cents rolled over. And that, usually I have more rolled over, as you know, but we both got paid on the 1st, so I didn't have to roll over some of those payments that I usually do. This is where we changed the budget up. So I'm going to go over debt and our emergency savings kind of together. So we changed this up based on what we originally budgeted. And pretty much for, I guess, 2 reasons you could say. Okay, so originally we had this medical, right? We had 3 medical bills that totaled $921.59. We were originally just going to pay all of that off. And then we'd only be saving about $205 towards our emergency savings, which we already had the balance of $140. However, like I mentioned, Dave Ramsey's first baby step is to save $1,000 and then start tackling your debt. So I kind of went back to, like, you know what, let's stick to the way he says to do it. In addition, because I stopped nannying sooner than anticipated, we agreed that we definitely needed to go ahead and have that emergency save, or the start of our emergency savings, before paying off the medical. So that's where things switched up. So we'll go ahead and go over that. So I'm going to start emergency savings. We're actually able to save $1,107.67. So that was awesome. So we have officially funded the beginning baby step number 1. So we're done with baby step number 1. So then we went up to baby step number 2, which is to start doing your debt snowball. So we kind of did this a little different. So I did pick, there's Elsa. Okay, so I did pick my lowest balance first, which was Arcadia. It was $24.38, and we paid her off completely. And then we paid off Elsa completely. So I finally have the girls paid off, which is nice. So again, I had those 2 lowest bills paid off. Then, this is where I'm almost doing a debt snowball within a debt snowball, because then I went down to the medical bill and I paid off one. I paid off the smallest of the 3, and then I paid $25 on the other 2, and that's just to keep them out of collections, because these are bills from like June and they're starting to want to send them off to collections. So I paid them that to satisfy that they got a payment, and then you'll see it in January how we end up doing that. And then the rest of them I paid the regular minimum. So Open Sky Best Buy was $25, my student loan was $53, and then Ricky's motorcycle was $204. So far, December is an awesome month. We made more than we anticipated. We got baby step 1 done, and we paid off 3 debts, you guys. So this is like, we are getting there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, but we're getting there. All right, so now sinking funds. This is where so what is a sinking fund, in case you're wondering, because I don't know if I even went over this with you guys. So sinking funds are all of those expenses that you have that don't come up monthly, but that could be quarterly or yearly or every once in a while, or it's another separate little savings account that you want for something particular. So for instance, in our sinking funds, we have like car registration, motorcycle and car maintenance, things like that. For us, for the month of December, we wanted to put money into our Burning Man fund, and if you notice here the balance, because we actually spent the money rather than saving it. So for Burning Man, we budgeted 100, and we actually spent 112, which is fine. We bought both of our bicycles. We said that we wanted to get bicycles, so we got 2 bicycles from Craigslist. They're 2 mountain bikes. They're $40 each. So we spent $80 on 2 bikes, and they're in good shape, you guys. So you'll see some videos for Burning Man. We started decorating the bikes, and then we got, a few other things related to Burning Man. So I was super excited for that find. So we basically got 2 bikes for the price of less than the price of 1. If you buy a new bike, you're looking at $100 or more just for a 1 bike anyways. So that's fine. And then holidays, we originally budgeted 100, but again, you saw at the top that we got a lot of Christmas money. So we spent $239, so we didn't spend the whole $400 that we got from Christmas. We saved over half of it, but we did we did end up spending a little more for holidays than we originally budgeted, and that's totally fine. The girls had a great Christmas, we had a great Christmas, and we're okay with that, because like I said, this month was awesome. Personal care, household, we finally had our $5 saved, so we finally had the balance of $5 for each category. Homeschool, I left it blue, even though technically it's $3 over. We spent $78.90, and that's because they actually had a deal for if you spent over $50, you got free shipping. So I originally had budgeted the 3 items that I was going to get. I had included that the shipping was going to be almost $11. So because I got the free shipping, I ended up being able to buy 1 more item that was only like $13. So I was able to get 4 basically for what I had originally budgeted for 3. So that was good. Again, stay tuned. We'll have a video as we start getting this curriculum in the mail. And last category is our fun category. Eating out, drinks, events. Again, I usually just budget the amount, and then whatever ends up going into, I'll put it in the separate category as we spend it. We actually ended up going over, which we always end up going over. We ended up spending $14.54. We originally budgeted 40. We went over. Again, we made more money, so we spent a little more money. So we are working on that. That's one of our biggest things. You know, it's the more you make, the more you somehow find to spend. So we're working on that, but not too bad. We went over, not as much as the month before. I think we went over by like 100 and something. So we stayed pretty decent. So all in all, I'm going to say that December we got an A. I'm not going to say A plus because it wasn't perfect, but I'm going to say an A because like I said, we were able to finish baby step 1. We paid off 3 debts, and we still were able to have a good holiday season without breaking the bank. So that was good. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about December. I'm excited about that. So let's head on over to January. Okay, so January is going to be a little bit different than a regular month, because Ricky gets paid every other Friday. So he gets 3 paychecks in January, and then also I get paid every Friday, so I have 5 paychecks. In addition, the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's, I had 2 days off each week that I did not get paid for because I'm not an actual employee of Amazon yet. So we basically got, you know, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off, but they were not paid. So that kind of throws us off a little bit there. So we'll just get an idea. Again, if you're familiar with the way I do my budget, I have my budgeted amount, and then I put every paycheck on here because not only do I budget for the entire month, then I budget pretty much by every week because I need to know what bills are coming out of that particular paycheck. So that just helps me keep it in order. So for Ricky, we are estimating, again, with his new raise, we're not sure. We haven't seen a regular paycheck from him yet because he's cashed out hours or he's had overtime or whatever. So we still don't quite know exactly how much he's going to make yet. On the first, though, he did get paid $768.51. So we just estimated for the 15th and 29th that he would make $718. So a total of $2,204.51. So that's estimated for Ricky's income. Mine is estimated $880.99. Again, I got paid $150.99 on the first. The 8th, I'm actually expecting to get paid a little bit less because I think on the first I had 15 hours and on the 8th I only had maybe 13 hours. So those are kind of a lot lower than we had seen in December, because December we were getting a lot of overtime or extra hours, not overtime, but extra hours. So the rest of the month I'm estimating $200 a paycheck. So we'll see what we end up having. And then again, we had our rollover of 71 cents. So our first is already done, and you'll see in the column here down below that we've already had quite a few bills coming out. It is the 5th of January right now, so you'll kind of be able to see that. Okay, so for our regular expenses, again, if it's the same as last month, I'm just going to say the same. If it's different than last month, then I'll say the new amount. And if it's something I need to touch on, I'll touch on that. So rent is the same. Car insurance is the same. Trash, this is where I said they accidentally double billed me. So I got billed for December. Usually it's every 3 months. And then they took out another $17.73. So I called them this morning, and they actually said that I had a credit on the account, and that was going towards a bill of $45.33. So they mentioned that I guess I was double billed somehow. So they said my next bill, which is in April, they said that I'll actually have that $45.33 credit on my account. So rather than them refunding me, they just said there's a credit on my account. So I guess my next bill should be covered. We'll see. Hopefully that goes through. That's a little interesting. Netflix, the same. Electric went up a little bit from last month because now we're using the heater. $112.79. Internet, the same. Water, $98.83, so it went down like $1. Adobe Cloud, the same. Cell phone, the same. Motorcycle insurance, the same. Groceries is a little different. Again, I base it off, changed it so the budget is $8. per day. January has 31 days. We will get, so this is what I was going to mention. So I reapplied for food stamps because with Amazon, I'm actually making more than nannying before taxes. They always count it before taxes. So for January, we're still getting the $122 for food stamps, but in February, it goes down to only $26. In addition, you may notice that you haven't seen any bills on here for medical insurance. So Ricky has insurance through his work. The girls and I had access, which was through the state. However, the girls are they're still qualified for access, so they'll still be on access insurance. I am no longer qualified. I'm making $100 over the limit. And part of this is stressful and it's frustrating, but because you feel like as soon as you're getting ahead that you're kind of back where you started. However, obviously the goal is once we're in the RV and we're traveling and we're working full-time around the states, we're going to have to be covering all of those costs ourselves anyway. So the goal, obviously, even if you're not planning on traveling, your ultimate goal should be to get off of assistance. So obviously that's the goal. So we're kind of getting weaned off of it. So that's, even though it's frustrating, it's still a good thing because I'd rather get weaned off of assistance versus it just be like, oh, nobody has insurance, nobody has food, you know, and just be like, oh, what are you doing? So you'll see here, you know, over the next couple of months, what I'm going to decide to do about my health insurance. So stay tuned for that. So for January, like I said, we still have our regular amount. So we're budgeting $126. These ones with the asterisks are my cash envelope, so I've already taken out cash for these items. Gas, we're going to budget $240 again. We went over last month, but again, we made a trip up north, so we're just going to do $240 and see how that goes. Diapers, we budget $35. Dog food, $20. Personal care, $9.26. Household, $5. We actually did need to buy toilet paper, paper towels, and I actually ended up buying, instead of buying 1 pack of each, I bought 2 packs of each, so hopefully that kind of gets us ahead, because if you notice, I keep trying to save $5 every month to eventually use it, and I end up using it almost every month. So, and we had a few other things for personal care. And then, excuse me, rollover, we need to budget $258.04 because the next paycheck we will actually get in February will not cover the car insurance, Netflix, and the electric bill. So I need to make sure I have enough money for those 3 bills from the previous month. So that's what we're rolling over there. So let's head on down to debt. So debt, again, Elsa and Arcadia, balance 0. They are totally paid off. So what do? The next step on your debt snowball is you tackle the next smallest debt. So we have Open Sky, our balance. I'm going to have to look online and verify the balance, but this is what it was the last time I calculated it, $92.25. So we are going to be paying that sucker off 100%. Then we go down to the next debt, Best Buy, and again, I'm going to have to double check the balance, but we're estimating $282.57. We're going to pay that sucker off completely. From there, we are not going to pay any more debt. We're going to just pay the minimum. So we have we're going to pay the debt, but we're going to pay the minimum balance. So student loan, $53. The 2 medical bills, we are actually going to increase it. So instead of only paying $25 on each, we'll pay $50 on each. And then the motorcycle loan, we will pay the minimum of $204. And then that way, we're actually able to still put $108 into our emergency savings. And again, that's because I'm no longer doing both jobs, and next month we will be losing $100 worth of food, so we still got to kind of keep saving. Even though I could technically pay that $100 towards my student loan, which would be usually what you would do. However, like I said, February, our budget's going to be changing quite a bit. In addition, in February, we usually get our tax refund, so stay tuned for all of that for next month. All right, and then down to our sinking funds. So the car is due for an oil change and a tire rotation, so I'm budgeting $50 for that. Last time I think we spent like 40 something, so we'll see if I can get some coupons. homeschool, and I put /office this time. I do have my enjoyinglifesjourney.com domain name, and that's a yearly fee, so I did have to pay that. So I have a few homeschool curriculums that I wanted to get, which are about $60-something, and then I had to pay the $15 for the domain for my website.com. So that's, I kind of just grouped those together. And then fun, I'm budgeting $50. I know you guys are probably like, you keep going over, just budget over. Well, we still have a $25 gift card to Chili's and a $25 gift card for the movies. So Ricky and I agreed that if we're going to do anything this month, we're going to use those 2 gift cards. And that way, it's still, in a sense, we'll still be spending about $100. We tend to spend about $100 every month on fun. So yeah, so that's it. That brings us down to the 0 balanced budget. That's the idea, to tell every dollar where it's going. Again, like I said, I go weekly, so you can see I've already done some of these. And then over here, like I mentioned before, these are all the auto pays. The ones in yellow, I do pay them online, but I have to physically go in and set those up. So those are in yellow because I still need to set those up. And then all of these random numbers that you see on the side here, these are just my personal notes. If you notice, some of these categories, they will actually be coming out of several paychecks. So for instance, Best Buy, I'm actually going to be taking money out of 3 paychecks to pay that amount. And so I have just listed over here, well, you can't really see on the side here. Let me move this. I just have it listed on the side what amount is going to be out of each of those paychecks, if that makes sense. So again, you guys do whatever works for you. I'm really liking this new setup that I did. And again, I started doing this setup and I followed Jackie from Gazelle Intense. She has a tutorial on how to put together this Excel sheet. So I followed hers, and then I made a few modifications to mine, like entering in every payday and a few other things. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link to that tutorial down as well, which I actually put the first time I started doing these. So it's really helpful to do that. So yeah, so stay tuned for February. We'll see how we do in January. And yeah, I don't know. Leave me a comment. How do you think we did? And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.